Hey, everybody. I think we are live. Looks like we have a little bit of a delay. Just double check that everything looks like it's moving okay. We have a little bit of a delay. Perfect. So it looks like we have about maybe a 20-second delay. But good morning, everybody. Happy early Thanksgiving to everyone in the United States. I'm here again live to answer some questions. I did a poll not too long ago asking you guys what you preferred, if you preferred to do a pre-recorded video with some, with me being on live to chat and answer your questions, or if you would rather have me on live. So I figured I would sprinkle in a few of these live question and answer sessions. So if you're here and you have a question, please type it into the chat. I will be very happy to answer that for you. And then again, I am also bringing attention to TeamSeas. If you can, and if you haven't already, and if you have, thank you. If you haven't already donated to TeamSeas.org, every dollar donated is a pound of trash removed from our beaches, oceans, and rivers. It's a great cause so far. We have got 16 million, just over, I think maybe just under 17 million pounds removed, and our goal is 30 million by January 1st. So very excited to talk about that because it's an important cause. All right, cool. It looks like we've got some people here already. Let's see. Hi, Alicia. How are you? Thank you for joining. And then we also have Rob the Maritimer. Good morning or good afternoon, whatever it is for you in your part of the world. Let's see. We also have Pete White. Thank you for joining today. Hi, Pete. He says, hi, Angela. What VO platforms do you use to sell your VO services? Well, I use Fiverr, Upwork, ACX. There is also, I don't know, it looks like I'm buffering. I'm hoping you guys can still see me. Can you guys see me okay? Looks like I'm having some sort of an issue. I don't know if you guys can still see me or not, but it looks like it is buffering or something. I know there's a little bit of a delay, but can you guys see and hear me okay? It looks like it's doing something weird on my end. I'm still a noob when it comes to streaming, so bear with me. I'm hoping you guys can still hear me, but to answer your question, Pete, Fiverr, ACX, Upwork, I'm also on Voquint, voices.com, Voice123. There are literally hundreds of different voiceover websites to find work on. Still working. Okay, good. Okay, because it looks like on my end it's doing some sort of buffering or something. I'm not sure if I'm still live or not, but thank you. Aaron, good morning, Aaron. Good afternoon, wherever you are. Hello, hello. Kirk is here. Hi, Kirk. Happy Thanksgiving, darling. Jeffrey, 906, greetings all. Greetings to you. Thank you for joining. Mamanda Panda, I love that. Thank you for letting me know. I think that's letting me know that I'm still live, so thank you for that. Pamela is here. Hello, hello. Alicia says it's still working on my end. Good. Okay, good. Kirk also says, yep, you're fine on this end. Okay, good. Because I'm frozen on my screen, so I'm hoping you guys can see you. Okay. Rob says, I can see you. No problems. Okay, good. CJ is here. Hi, CJ. I can see and hear you just fine. Perfect. Pete White says, yes, I see you. Thank you. Do you use Voice Jungle? You know, Voice Jungle is one that, if memory serves, I had to audition for. You have to send in your demo. And I've sent it in a number of times and have never got a response. And I have brought this up to other people in the VO community that have had similar issues, and they said just pick up the phone and call them. So I think that's next on my agenda, but I'm sure they're just inundated with people, or maybe they just don't want me. I don't know. I don't know which it is because I haven't got a response, but I've sent in probably 5 or 6 different demos now over the course of the last couple years, and or maybe their response is falling into spam. I don't know. Maybe I'm being optimistic. I don't know. I don't know what the issue is there, but I don't know. So to answer your question, no, as far as I know, I'm not currently on Voice Jungle because I'm still waiting to hear back from them. Jeffrey says, all good here. Good, good, good. Tony, hi, Tony. Hope you were well. Yes, everyone is well here in this part of the world and my little circle of people and family. So I hope everyone is doing well and staying safe. If you have any questions about voiceover or audiobooks or anything voiceover related, I am here for you and for it. And I know there is a little bit of a delay here, so I apologize if there's any goofiness. I'm still learning this whole live streaming thing, so I hope everything is turning out okay. Let's see. It looks like only subscribers can comment. I hope that doesn't mess anything. Can I turn that off? I wonder if I can turn that off. I don't know how I did that. I must have gotten button clicking happy. Anywho. Okay, so Pete says, I'd be happy to introduce you to VJ. Submit again and use my name and I'll contact them myself on your behalf. Well, thank you. That is so very nice of you. I'd have to double check and see if I don't have a response from them somewhere that I just maybe overlooked, but I'm not sure. But thank you for that. That's very, very kind of you. Alicia says, the DAWs, which one would be user-friendly for recording? You know, Alicia, this has come up a lot of times during the last couple of weeks with, as you know, I work with people just getting started in voiceover, and that is one of the main questions. A lot of people get free software with some of the hardware that they buy, and they try that out, of course. I can't say I blame them because it's free and it's there, right? But I find that some of the DAWs are better suited for voiceover. And again, personal preference here, you know, do what you want, do whatever you feel comfortable with. But, I mean, there's ones like Reaper, there's Studio One, there are a handful of them that people use that are free. My personal preference is, of course, Adobe Audition. My understanding of what is available out there and from my own experience using it over the course of the last few years has been that Adobe Audition is it seems to me a little better suited for voiceover because it has better usability, I think is a good word for voiceover artists. Some of the effects that they offer and some of the things that you can do with Adobe Audition are better suited for voiceover. So personal preference. Oh, and also because if you look around YouTube for tutorials on how to use specific DAWs, it seems to me, maybe it's just because I'm looking for it most of the time, there is more information out there on Adobe Audition and how to use it specifically by voiceover artists. So I would say Adobe Audition for me is my number one choice for a DAW for a voiceover artist. But if you are a music producer or something else of that nature, something else might be better suited for you, like Reaper or Studio One. But Adobe Audition would be my answer for sure. Aaron's here. Hey, Aaron. He says, I have a client looking to do an audio business card. Do you have any advice for this certain format? An audio business card. That's interesting. You'll have to give me a little bit more information on an audio business card. Is it like a card with like a QR code that leads to an audio file? Or how exactly is that? What is his proposition for making that happen? If you can, give me a little bit more information on that because it's very interesting. I'd like to help you with that. CJ says, I'm always curious on demo reels when people use previous gigs for large companies. Isn't that copyrighted? Going to be working on my first demo reel this weekend. If they are from previous gigs, if the demo reel that they're using or the pieces of these orders that they're using for demo reels are from their actual previous gigs, if they were paid for by these companies to these individuals, unless the company says you cannot use it, or if you've signed an NDA or something of that nature, then I would say it's okay to use it. I have verbiage in my for Fiverr in my delivery, my order delivery response. You know, the preset response that says I'd like to use a piece of this delivery as a for demo purposes, unless you tell me otherwise, and to also send me a finished copy of the finished project, because of course I always love to see them, right? You like to see the finished product. And then I'd also like to use it as a demo as well. And most of the time my clients will say, yes, please go ahead and use it. It's very rare that someone will say, no, don't use any of this delivery publicly. I hope that answers your question. But if you have been paid for this project and the client says, yes, you can use it, then I don't see why you couldn't. Tony says, also, how long were you doing VO work before you quit your 9-to-5 job? It was about a year and a half. I did both. And then in December of, what year are we in now? December of 2019, I hit top rated on Fiverr. I was doing very well, top rated on Upwork as well. And I was starting to really get to a place where I was matching my 9-to-5 income with my VO work. And so I made a plan to resign from my 9-to-5 job in March of 2020. So I've been doing this for a little over a year and a half now, full time, and it's very, very gratifying and liberating and just wonderful feeling for sure. It was hard. It was hard to do both for sure. Working 10 hours a day and then coming home and getting whatever I could done in the night or on weekends, and spending time away from family, and just it was a lot of work, but the payoff is definitely worth it for sure. Grant's here. Hi, Grant. I'm considering the Rode. Is it Rode or Rode? I always forget. Rodecaster Pro for both voiceover and podcasting. Not doing much live streaming, but figured the hardware could cover most of the bases before I invest in voiceover specific. I don't know if you had something else there, but it looks like it might have been cut off. I have personally used the Rode NT1A. I'm not too sure on the Rodecaster. I have heard a few of my podcast clients using it and have been happy with it. I don't know if it is good. I wouldn't see why it wouldn't be good for voiceover. It's worth trying for sure. If you haven't, I know some of these places that sell microphones, I know it's the state of the world as it is. You don't really want to go out shopping and touching things. But if you have the opportunity to test it beforehand, that's always ideal. But I understand it's more difficult to do that now than it probably ever has been. But to answer your question, I don't see why it wouldn't be. But I would definitely read the reviews on it. Like if you go on to sweetwater.com to read some reviews about this specific microphone and see if there are any voiceover artists who have left reviews on it that could give you some insight as to how they feel about it, maybe. Because I've never personally worked with that particular microphone, but I have had a Rode before, and it was a great mic for sure. Oh boy, we're starting to get some questions here. Let me scroll back up here. Mamanda Panda, I love that. Adobe is having a sale on all of their Creative Cloud apps, $29.99 a month. That is awesome. Is that for the whole suite of apps, or is that for a specific app, because if it is the entire suite for $29.99, at least for the first year, that's a great deal. That's half of what I'm paying. Laura's here. Hi, Laura. Hi, Angela. Any suggestions for breathing techniques for audiobooks? I still find myself doing so much editing to cut out breaths because I find them distracting. That is probably one of the biggest obstacles I find in narrating audiobooks, and that is removing breaths. I was watching a video recently from a good friend of mine, Anthony Pica, and he made a joke at the beginning of his video concerning breaths. And if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's really great. A Vio's Journey. And he said, just don't breathe, which I thought was funny, but you do have to breathe. The best way to handle breaths, I think, is to limit your big breaths into a place where if you can pace yourself and take a big breath between paragraphs or between sentences, that might cut out a lot of the in-between breaths. Or just teach yourself to take maybe a shallow breath. Take a large breath before a couple of sentences, take shallow breaths in between, and leave those big distracting breaths into it, not like mid-sentence, but like between sentences and between paragraphs where you can easily cut them out. Otherwise, personal opinion, I think a shallow, natural breath is not distracting. It might be for you because I'm sure everybody breathes differently. The sound of our breaths is all maybe a little different. But if it's distracting to you, I know it's a pain in the butt. There are some, there are some plugins. There is a deep breath on Waves that I have tried to fine tune and get to work. But as I said before, every breath is different. So if you set this plugin to remove or reduce a certain type of breath, it's only going to focus on that frequency of that breath that you trained it on. So it's not going to remove every single breath, and it might end up making some breaths just sound weird, right? Excuse me. So for plugins, or for removing breaths, I should say, it's a difficult thing. So that's what I do. I take the shallow breaths and then I take a big, deep breath between sentences and paragraphs where I can easily cut it out. A little easier, I should say. But yeah, they are definitely hard to remove. Aaron says, the client sent me an audio file along with a rough outline of what he would like. It seems like it would be used as a sales tool so he could give the audio file to potential clients to listen to. Okay, well, that's cool. I think this is the audio business card. That is cool. So you're asking for a certain format. I would think that if he needs just like a wave or an MP3 short, sweet, even adding music, depending on what kind of business this is, I think that would be maybe no different than any other type of voiceover, unless he has something like a specific format that he needs. I would think this would just be something upbeat but professional, perhaps, unless he has a different idea of how he wants that to sound. But that's a good idea, the audio business card. I like a little mini commercial. Tony says, did you get much coaching at the start, and do you still get some from time to time? I did get, when I decided to leave my 9 to 5 and go work on becoming a full-time voiceover artist, I did get coaching. I sought out Anthony Pica because I felt very comfortable working with him, and I worked with him for a year, and I am still part of some of his groups. I'm also a certified coach for him now on his website. Again, that's a Vio's Journey. He's here on YouTube as well, if you don't already know. But he's a great coach, a great mentor, and I still speak with him and join his groups from time to time. We're also planning on perhaps my being a guest speaker sometimes for his academy that he has now, specifically on audiobooks. So that'll be exciting. CJ says, yes, thank you. Jeffrey says, I use the Rodecaster Pro and love it. Oh, great. Okay, so there you go. We have someone saying that the Rodecaster Pro is awesome. That's good to know. Matthias R. Hi, Angela. How are you doing? I am fine. How are you? Thank you for joining today. Tony says, thanks, Angela. Love all your videos, nuggets of info. Thank you. That is my whole purpose for this, right? Is just to provide you guys something that I was looking for in the beginning. Is just information and support, right? Because this is new and scary, and you don't know if it's a good fit for you, and you don't know all the technical aspects, all the hardware, software. You just need someone to ask questions. Aaron says, currently using the Rode Procaster for voiceover and podcasting works great. Oh, there we go. There's another one. Mamanda Panda. Yes, the entire suite. From my understanding, that is a great deal. If all of you or any of you that have missed that, she says that the entire Adobe Creative Cloud suite is on sale right now for $29.99 a month. That's a killer deal. That's about half of what I'm paying for it now. So if you want Adobe Audition and maybe need Premiere Pro in the media encoder, that there's a lot of stuff in that creative suite. Definitely check that out. That's a great deal. Pete says, how often do you adjust your SEO and keywords on Fiverr? Excuse me. Not very often these days. I did a lot of tweaking in the beginning because I was really trying to get a feel for the algorithm and how things are moved around and what keywords to use that got more in traffic than some other ones did. And I think I'm at a point where everything works well for me in the volume that I need it to be in, if that makes sense. So these days I don't do a whole lot of changing up SEO and keywords because I'm pretty happy with the way things are flowing right now. And, what, as they say, if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? So I did a lot of massaging those in the beginning, but not so much these days. But every so often, because trends do change. So the use of keywords would, I'm sure, in turn also change. So I'm sure they'll be needed again in the future, but right now I'm just leaving them as they are. Alicia says, so I noticed that everyone does blue lighting for their studio recording. Is there a reason? For me, this is supposed to be kind of purple, like a bluish purple, but I understand what you're saying. There have been a few pictures in our group lately of people with like a blue background. And honestly, I think blue is a little bit easier on the eye. You guys can't see it, but the light above my head is also blue. That is the only light that is in here while I'm working because of obviously these ring lights aren't on. Otherwise, you guys wouldn't see me if they weren't on. It'd be way too dark in here. But I think the blue light is a little bit easier on the eye to answer your question. No other particular reason, I think. Candy's here. Hi, Candy. She says, hi, Angela. Thank you for reading my question. Do you recommend normalizing to -3 dB or -1 dB? I know Anthony says he does -1. I remember you mentioned previously that he likes his stuff loud. He does. Excuse me. I personally normalize everything to -3 dB. I think it also depends on what the input volume is that you're recording into your DAW, if that makes sense. I think his might be, I'm not entirely sure because I don't want to speak for him because I don't know. But typically my recording level, excuse me, is usually between -12 and -6, somewhere in there. And then I normalize it to -3 dB. He says -1 dB because I think that just turns out to be a better volume for him. I have personally tried to normalize my stuff to -1 and it just seems too loud. Maybe because he does more of the commercial stuff, I do more of the long form stuff, and loud might be a little too loud for long form. I'm not entirely sure, but I think it also has to do with preference. But long story short, I've never had a client say, hey, this is too low. Sending it in as -3 dB. So I'm not entirely sure if that is a standard. I've never heard if either or was a standard. It might just be preference or a recommendation. I would say do what sounds better to you and works better for your clients, to answer your question. Oh boy. Let's see. I'm trying to scroll back up here. Mamanda Panda says the Era bundle from Acusonus has a debreather that works fairly well. Oh, well, that's awesome. Okay, so Acusonus, I'm going to have to check that out. I'm going to write that down really quick. Acusonus, and you said it was the Era bundle. Thank you for that. I'll definitely check that out, and hopefully that is something that it would work for most of us deep breathers. Aaron says, thank you. You're welcome. Scott Kerr says, hi. Hi, Scott. Kirk says, it might be helpful, stress relieving to others to touch on our convo regarding missing the end delivery deadline on ACX. Oh, okay. I actually had another mentoree of mine ask that same question, and he's referring to if you have a contract with ACX, with a rights holder on ACX, you have a contract to narrate an audiobook, and something comes up where you think that you're going to miss that deadline. You're not going to have that book finished and delivered by the time the rights holder put into the contract that you would have it done, the deadline. I have actually run into this problem myself. And the best thing to do is just to reach out to the rights holder and say, hey, I've had a problem or something's come up. Whatever the reason is, I'm not going to be able to meet this deadline. As long as that rights holder agrees to giving you another week, another 2 weeks, whatever the time frame is that you request, and they accept that, there's no need to involve ACX at all. That contract is between you and the rights holder. So as long as there's a verbal agreement in your conversations about giving you X amount of additional time, there's no need to involve ACX to change the contract or anything of that nature. That contract is just between you and the rights holder. ACX will only get involved if there is, if you need to dissolve the contract or you can't do it at all, or if there's some sort of a need for mediation, but there's no need to involve ACX in updating the contract. Thank you, Kirk. That's a good one to note. Laura says, Anthony mentioned that with ACX that producers should ask to get paid half up front or midway through. How do you handle getting paid? He mentioned there are a lot of scammers. There are unfortunately a lot of scammers, but in reality, anytime that you make yourself available online, you're going to be opening yourself up to scams, trolls, just ne'er-do-wells that are there, and that's just what they want to do. They're going to try to take advantage of your inexperience, perhaps, but in terms of how to get paid, when I work with audiobook rights holders, I typically ask for 50% upfront, and that verbiage in itself tends to scare away a lot of the scammers. I haven't done anything royalty share in a long, long time. I would say probably a good year and a half, perhaps. I haven't done anything for royalty share. It's all been pay for production or per finished hour. And if it's not through a website that collects the money in escrow, and I have no control over, well, actually you do have control over that with Fiverr. You can do it in milestones. So that is another great way to do that. If you have an audiobook order on Fiverr, you can set up milestones to collect, 50% of that midway through and then collect the balance once the audiobook is done. That's a great way to do that. But if I'm working with somebody off platform, they come directly to me, I collect 50% up front because scammers typically don't want to pay you anything, right? They just want to collect your work and run away with it. So doing that will prevent a lot of that headache. So that is a great point. TK Partita says, hi, Angela. What platform do you get the most work from? Currently, the most work I get, most of my work comes from Fiverr. I would say a good chunk comes from Fiverr. And then a close runner-up would be Upwork. And then I have a lot of clients that reach out to me directly through my website, which is why I always say have a website if you're a voice actor or a freelancer of any sort, because even though we have all of these platforms available to us to connect with buyers, it's always great to have a home base, because if you're promoting yourself on social media, you're promoting yourself on all of these different voiceover websites or platforms, exchanges, whatever you want to call them, there is a good chance that these clients are going to want to work with you directly. And what better way for them to find you is, is through your website. So if you have some sort of a home base where they can Google you, find you, and then reach out to you and connect with you through your website, then, that's a great thing to have, especially if your website can have like a media player on it for demos or a contact form at the very least, so the client can reach out to you and reach out to you directly to work with you. But most of my work right now comes from Fiverr. Pete White says, "Thank you, Angela." Sorry, guys, I'm getting a little hoarse already. Okay. I'm going to try not to butcher your name, but it looks like Sakelis Panos is an author. I hope I pronounced that right. I'm sorry if I butchered it. He says, "Hi from Greece." Hi. Hi from Phoenix. Tony says, "Angela, where would you say most of your VO work is based in? Is it in audiobooks, commercials, video production, or corporate?" It's a good question. Right now, I would say 50% of my work is audiobooks. I typically have 2 or 3 in queue most of the time these days. Apart from audiobooks, I would say I do a close runner-up to audiobooks would be e-learning. So most of what I do is long form. So audiobooks, e-learning, I do a lot of phone tree, like phone messages, IVR. And also, let's see, what was some other things and video narration, which I guess technically could be under the e-learning umbrella. Lots of long form basically is what I do. Scott Kerr says, "Where does the retail audio sample go in the order of the files? The QA team says to be sure the files are in proper order, and it's currently the last file." There are specific blocks or places to put each particular file in for ACX, and typically the retail sample is at the bottom. Like you said, it's the very last one in the order. So I'm not sure why the QA team is telling you to be sure that the files are in proper order, but it's typically the last file that you upload is at the very bottom, is the retail sample. So you're right. I'm not sure why they would say that unless it's incorporated into another file. I'm not sure exactly why they would say that. Creative Vos says, "Hi, Angela. This is Beto. Is it Beto or Beto? I'm sorry. And Dulce from Tucson, Arizona. Thank you so much for sharing so valuable information all 2020 and 2021. I've been learning from your videos." You're so very welcome. Thank you for watching that whole time. Oh my goodness. That is a long time to be watching somebody. So thank you so much. When I first started, I didn't think that anyone would even, pay attention. I was just trying to be, again, what I needed in the very beginning, because, there are a lot of people on YouTube that give you a lot of information. But for me, I'm not going to say I was dubious or skeptical of what they were saying, but I needed to learn it on my own. I needed to be more hands-on with what I learned. So I took what they said and I did it my way and I made it work. But so I guess for me, I'm just sharing what I learned, I guess my take or my perspective on how I got to where I am. So I'm hoping to be that source of information for you, along with some of my other VO brethren, right? So thank you again for watching. I really appreciate it. TK Partita says, "Thanks. Did you put a lot of time into working up the levels on Fiverr?" I did, actually. This was also in 2018 is when I first signed up with Fiverr, and it did take a little while to get used to the format or the algorithm, right, of Fiverr, because it's a mystery. But as you go along, you start to get an idea of what works and what doesn't. Knowing the terms of service and what you can and can't do is very important, because you don't want to get yourself inadvertently banned or blocked or, kicked off the platform altogether. So as long as you play nice, play by the rules, and treat your clients with respect and dignity, no matter if it is someone that is maybe perhaps crass or rude, you know what I mean? Respond to them still, But if they're making you uncomfortable in any way, then you say, I'm sorry, I'm not interested. And then you can report or block them or whatever it is that you do. But as long as you respond to all your clients quickly and treat them with the respect that you would want, then you should move up fairly quickly. But it took a long time to get that first order for sure. Getting that first order is difficult, but always checking out those buyer's requests on Fiverr. You can submit 10 of those a day. So definitely get into the buyer's requests and introduce yourself to other sellers on Fiverr, because that is the only way that you are allowed to solicit your services on Fiverr. You cannot reach out to people through their inbox, because that is a big no-no. So submitting buyer's requests on Fiverr is a great way to get you off to a good start by letting people know that you're there. Otherwise, there are hundreds of thousands of voiceover artists on there now, right? So going into the buyer's requests and submitting those, even if they don't apply to your specific voice, right? Your accent or whatever, then still reach out, introduce yourself, send them a demo and say, hey, I'm here in the need, if there was ever a time that you needed a voice like mine, then I'm here. Doing that is definitely going to pay off for you in the long run. Candy says, hi, Angela. I am looking to learn how to record meditation and sleep stories. I know you offer a course for this. I'm on your site right now. Is this course a step-by-step or more a broad look? It is, it's a broad step-by-step, I guess. And don't be freaked out by my hair, because I recorded that course with long red hair. That was, I think, right after I had left my 9-to-5. So I was like, woohoo, I'm just going to do something crazy. And then, but to answer your question, I go over in that course, I go over ASMR, sleep stories, affirmations, and meditations, how to record them, how to add them to video, what they are. I go through pretty much everything. So it's a broad step-by-step, I guess. But we can always talk about this if you want to. Jeffrey 906, your videos help greatly for someone like me getting into the VO field. Video podcasting is fun and beneficial, but aid in the learning curve. Yes, absolutely. Podcasting is definitely a learning curve. But if you can do voiceovers or podcasting, you can easily transition into either, knowing one or the other. So it is a great point. Laura says, is it a good idea to have multiple Fiverr gigs? How many? Right now, I've focused on growing 3. Should I add more? And do you think it might create more traffic? P.S. You're awesome. Thank you. It is a good idea to have multiple. The only thing to keep in mind if you have more than one or multiple is to make sure that all of your thumbnails are different, that all of your titles are different, all of your tags are relatively different. And I would diversify them as much as you can without losing the whole, with making sure they stay in the voiceover category. But if you have gigs that are not active, meaning that you have space to add another gig, take a look around Fiverr. Really think about what you can offer that needs a voice that isn't really talked about a whole lot. You might just find a niche where there's maybe 5 or 6 sellers and be the only female or be the only male. And then you can really capitalize on that strategy of having a gig in a very limited category of voiceover artists. So that is what you definitely want to look out for. But having multiple gigs, of course, is a bigger opportunity for people to find you, right? Because I have people find my audiobook gig and then they need commercial work done, or vice versa. So having multiple gigs is, I guess, a broader net. The more space you take up, the easier it is for someone to find you. And plus, you can also beta test between different gigs. Try a keyword on this one and try a different variation of that keyword on this one and see which one works better. So it's better to have multiple gigs for sure. Scott says, thanks. The retail sample was under 1 minute and they asked it to be redone. Ensuring proper order looked like standard lingo on the part of the resubmission. Just wanted to be sure. Uh-oh, I think I just lost your... Oh, okay, so it looks like you just pulled that out while I was reading it. But from what I did read, your retail sample needs to be over a minute. The retail sample needs to be between a minute and 5 minutes. So that might be what the problem was that they were having. Okay, so it looks like I might be having some issues now with the stream. I'm not sure why. But TK Partita, I don't know if you guys can still hear me or see me. It looks like YouTube is saying I'm having some sort of a buffering issue again. I'm not exactly sure what that means or why that's happening because I am hardwired in. So can you guys still hear me, see me, anything? It looks like it's still clocking or clicking down. Let me check YouTube really quick on my phone and see if you guys can hear me okay. Of course, it's commercial. Jeez. Love your content. Thank you, guys. Okay, it looks like I might still be live. I'm not sure exactly what is going on here, but thank you everyone for joining today. Who joined today? My brain is just... Scott says, thank you. I love your content. Thank you so much. I'm sorry I skipped TK Partita. This says, thank you so much for answering my questions. Thank you so much for asking them. Okay, so Scott said, okay, thank you. Love your content. Robo King says, good morning from New Jersey. Good morning from Arizona. Laura says, thanks for answering my questions and for doing this. Have a great day. You know what? You have a fabulous day yourself, Laura. Thank you for joining. Candy says, I swear I will only ask 2 more questions. I'm looking to learn the technical aspect of IVR, like how to properly format a voicemail greeting on-hold message for a client with music. Do you teach this? Absolutely. I think I might even have a video here on my channel where I go over IVR and phone messages. And if memory serves, I even go into how to add I'm pretty sure I did. I created a video that has how to record them, split them, add music to them. So definitely check out my channel here and look for the IVR phone message video because I go over specifically that. Looks good. Yes. Okay, great. Thank you. Everyone says, yes, still working. Awesome. Awesome. Hear and see you. Okay, awesome. Thank you guys so much because I'm getting all of these notifications. But if you guys can still hear and see me, that's all that matters. Okay. Alicia says, thanks for answering my questions. You're welcome. Kirk says there was a brief blip, but you're here. Okay, good. Pamela says, I can. You just delay a couple of seconds at a time. Yeah, it said something about buffer or poor connection or something, but I'm not sure why. Now it says excellent condition. Erica says, no problems here. Okay, good. All right, guys. Well, if there's any more questions that you guys want to add, I've got about 10 more minutes here before I need to get moseying on. Nancy, hi. She says, hello from South Dakota. Hello, hello. I'm sure you guys have, it's 74 degrees today here in sunny Arizona. I'm sure you guys actually get a fall and winter there. Pamela says you do. I watched it this morning. Okay, good. Fabulous. Okay. Let's see. I'm skimming through here, making sure I didn't miss any questions. I think I'm pretty much caught up unless... I hope I didn't miss anybody. I apologize. I don't have my glasses on. I should probably put them on so I can actually read. But it looks like there aren't any more questions. But like I said, I'll be here for just a few more minutes. Okay, Creative Voss. Angela, what platform you recommend as my first time ever platform? I'm a traditional TV radio promo voiceover announcer. Normally go directly to stations, but will like to diversify, if I can say it. Um, you know, one of the best places, and there are a lot of people that say, no, don't do this, but there's a lot more people, from my experience, that say, yes, do this. But getting onto Fiverr and Upwork, if you want to do promo commercial stuff, is going to be, I think, your fastest way to get started with earning voiceover income, because there are millions of people on Fiverr doing business every day, and just about every aspect of digital assets, and maybe even not digital assets. There's a lot of business being conducted on Fiverr every day. Excuse me. And there's a lot of big companies that are coming to Fiverr because of all of the marketing that they're doing. Big names are on Fiverr working with voiceover artists. So I would say go there and look over some of the other voiceover artists' gigs and take down some pointers as to how they have their thumbnails formatted, what their pricing structures are, the verbiage in their descriptions, frequently asked questions, their titles, their keywords. Take note of what other people are using and create yourself a gig for promo, station ID, that sort of thing, DJ drops, that sort of thing. And I think that would be a great niche to start in for voiceover. That would be probably the best place. And don't be discouraged if you don't have people, breaking down your door when you first post your gig, because you do need to get noticed. The algorithm does take time to move everyone around, because they're trying to make it fair for everybody. They don't want the same people up at the top of the first page every single day. They're constantly shifting people around to give everyone a fair shake. And the better your title is, describing what your gig is and what you offer, and then in turn your keywords are also specific to the type of voiceover that you're offering, the easier it's going to be for a buyer looking for you to find you. So keep that in mind. Fiverr, I think, is probably the best way for you to get started. Desirat, sorry if I butchered that. Can you give a brief summary of using ACX? ACX is a arm of Amazon. It's a site where audiobook narrators and rights holders, meaning authors, publishers, whoever owns the rights to the book, can meet up and produce audiobooks. And there are, if you've been here since the beginning, I've mentioned scammers on audiobooks, or ACX rather. But really, anywhere you go, anywhere you make yourself and your services available, you're going to have people that are going to try to take advantage of what they perceive as your inexperience and try to get one over on you. That's just common just about every place that you go. But it is a great place to get started. And if you don't want to start, if you're brand new and you don't want to start, if working for money with a client before you're ready and you feel comfortable with your own skill set, it makes you uncomfortable, I would start with LibriVox.org. That is a place, one of the places where you can donate your time and your skills to free audiobooks, books that are in the public domain. Doing that, I did that in the very beginning. Doing that got me more comfortable with the process of recording, editing, formatting, getting used to my dog, getting used to my mic placement. It really was a great way for me to get more comfortable with what I was doing before I offered my services for pay. So if that's what you're looking to get into, I would suggest going to a place called LibriVox.org and donate your time and skills to get more comfortable in the process before you start on ACX. Let's see. RoboKing says, how long does it take you to complete a VO job? I recently started on Fiverr, and it takes me 2 to 3 days to record, edit, and deliver about 300 words. That is, and again, everybody's day is different. Some people still have 1 day job, 2 day jobs, and they're doing voiceover, at the end of the day. I can't really say. I would say for me, 300 words I can have done in, recorded, edited, and delivered in maybe 20, 30 minutes. But I'm here full time. This is all I do all day. So, And again, if you're just getting started out, it's going to take longer because you're getting used to the editing process, you're getting used to your effects. You're getting used to all of these new things that take time to learn. So don't be hard on yourself that it takes you that much time, but as you go along and you do it more and more, you'll get more comfortable with the process and start to learn to streamline the process a little bit. So it'll start to take you less and less time. Sorry, I have the chapstick here. It's my one vice in the world, apart from coffee, of course. Okay, Jeffrey says, I was revisiting your noise floor video this morning. I have some work to do in my studio. Great tips for the new guy. Haha. You're very welcome, Jeffrey. And the noise floor video was also came from a lot of questions about noise floor. And noise floor for me was one of the hardest things to figure out and eliminate for me when I first got started. But if you have a very high noise floor, there are some things you can do to reduce that without using effects. Because again, as I always say, use effects sparingly if you can, because the more you use, the more it's going to change and possibly destruct your voice. So again, this shotgun mic that I have here is one of the ways that I was able to reduce noise floor in my studio, because the shotgun mic only picks up what's in front of it, not so much what's to the side, right? So that eliminates pretty much everything around it apart from what's right in front of it. So that helps reduce my noise floor as well. And then I also have a DBX 286S that I use, not so much, it's a mic preamp and then it has some effects on it, but I don't use it as a preamp. I only use the noise gate on it because I have found that noise gate on the DBX, granted it took a long time to find that sweet spot where it didn't completely destruct my voice, but it works really well for eliminating noise around your voice. So that was one of, and I think all of that is in the video, I think, if memory serves. RoboKing, also kind of sort of off topic, but for some reason Fiverr doesn't show my voice demos on my gig page. Does anyone else deal with this? Tech support told me to re-upload them, but it didn't work. Are you saying that your audio samples on your gig page won't upload at all? Or they do upload and then they just don't appear? Are they in the proper format? Because I think they need to be in a specific format as well. But I have found that Fiverr is a little bit, I think as they grow, they're kind of working out some of the bugs and glitches with their servers and their site as they go along. But for me personally, my live portfolio has never worked. So I know there are some bugs to work out. So if that is the case, then I would definitely get into customer support and give them screenshots of what you're seeing and have them look into it until it's resolved. Because if this is across all of your gigs, this is a real problem. But if it's only one gig, you might have to delete the gig, in the end, if there's nothing that they can do or help you with, and start over. I'm not sure why that's happening. I haven't heard that before, but that would be a definite problem. What about the video? Are you able to get the video to upload to your gig? That would be interesting to know. Rufus Maximus, I have a question about the boring side of VO. Would you recommend someone who is just getting started to set themselves up as an LLC or to start out like an independent contractor? I would say start out like an independent contractor. If you're working with Fiverr, Upwork, Voices.com, any of those, that's technically what you are. You are an independent contractor. And I would say do that until you are sure that this is something that you want to do. And once you make that determination and you decide to do this full time or make this your business, then look into creating your LLC for sure. And it's not boring. It's definitely it's a necessary thing. It's a necessary thing to consider and have created if you want to do this full time. Okay. I think we're getting to just about the last couple minutes of our hour. If there's any last questions that we can ask or answer for you this morning. Let me just make sure that I'm not missing anybody. If I missed you again, I'm sorry. I think I've got everybody. Okay. I know there's like a 20-second delay, so I just want to give you guys the opportunity to type in your last question if you have any. If not, I think everybody that came in and joined today, thank you so much for watching and asking your questions and supporting me. I really appreciate it. And again, TeamSeas, check them out if you haven't already, teamseas.org. Every dollar donated is a pound of trash removed from our beaches, oceans, and rivers. It's a great cause. We've got about 16 million, almost 17 million pounds removed so far. Our goal is 30 million by January 1st. Okay, RoboKing says, video is fine. Everything uploads just fine and shows up on the gig page except for the audio demos. I would say that is a definite problem. At least you have the video audio, and I know the video audio isn't the best because that is also compressed, so it sounds very pixelated and mechanical, but at least you have something. But having audio demos not there is definitely a problem, so I would get into customer support and have them fix it for you. I'm hoping that's what can happen for you. Pamela says, do voice actors need any type of insurance for businesses? That is a great question. I would definitely get in touch with an attorney and make sure that you cover all of these bases with them. I can't really give you any of that advice because I can't legally, but definitely get in touch with an attorney and ask those questions. That's about the best I can answer that, so I'm sorry. RoboKing says, thank you. Thanks for the advice, though. I'm new to your channel, but I think this Q&A thing is really cool and helpful idea, especially for beginners like me. Well, you know what? Thank you for joining. And again, this is what I was hoping to do, and this is why I do this, because this is what I needed in the very beginning, was to just have an open forum to ask questions of somebody who, you know, I'm not going to say that I know everything about everything, but I mean, had more experience than me and that I could ask questions. Daniel's Roar, thumbs up. Thank you. All right, guys. Well, I think we're going to wrap this up for today. I'm going to try to do this at least once a month, maybe, if that's helpful for you guys. It sounds like it is, so that's great. So, oh, we just got another one. Jeffrey says, thanks, Angela. Appreciate all your help. Keep up the great videos. We need them. Well, thank you so much for watching. And thank you, everyone, for your support and watching today. Thank you so much for your time. But I think we're going to wrap it up for today. And everyone have a safe and happy Thanksgiving. And I will see everybody on the next one. Pamela said, happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for your time. Love it as always. Thank you, Pamela, so much for you watching today. All right, guys. Well, I will see you on the next one. So